each market is going to be affected by those supply and demand dynamics. If you look at what's been happening in Riyadh, so there's still opportunities for growth in the market there. Of course, we've got the new residential non-Saudi laws, the impact of the project, because it's not just a financial impact. It's about, look, how much green space can you create? How much community benefit can you have as well? So we can bring you the best that Deloitte has to offer. His Excellency talked yesterday on the panel about the idea around fractional ownership as well. And that could actually become and give a broader platform to Muslims globally who wanted to get involved in terms of investing in the holy city. So landowners or looking at land around the metro stations,
For sure.
please get in touch.
Right.
Think about the end users, understand your end users, understand affordability of the end user.
Point.
A lot of changes are coming.
Hello, everyone. This is Muaz Haq from Think Saudi, and today I'm at the Deloitte booth with Mr. Oliver, who is an expert in real estate, and they are doing an excellent real estate predictions report and also a presentation tomorrow. I was just able to catch Mr. Oliver here, and just wanted to see if he has time for a few questions. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. And Mr. Oliver, tell me about yourself a little bit, about background for the audience.
Absolutely. So my name's Ollie Morgan. I'm the partner. I lead real estate across the Middle East. Been working in Saudi since 2008. So I've seen a lot of changes. But I think in the last few months, actually some really significant changes happening, especially with the non-Saudi investment law.
We're all waiting for that. Yeah, definitely. That's going to be a huge moment. So Oliver, what do you think about the real estate market? Where is it going? Like, what do you guys foresee? Is it growing? Is it going to grow further? Are we seeing a flat line for some time? What do you guys foresee in the coming, let's say, 8 months to 12 months and then moving forward?
Well, if you think about the Saudi market, it's not just one market. It's not homogenous, right? We've got a very diverse market over in Jeddah, Riyadh, Eastern Province, and then Mecca, Madinah, Al Hassa, an amazing diverse range of different marketplaces. Now, you have different drivers for each market, and so each market is going to be affected by those supply and demand dynamics.
Right.
But let's take Riyadh. If you look at what's been happening in Riyadh, the office sector, you've seen a huge amount of growth, about 19% in 2025 in the office rent prices. Now, if you think about the rental freeze that came in towards the end of the year, actually, is that going to taper and stop all growth in that sector completely? Well, actually, no. Well, again, it's quite diverse. You've got to then go into the next layer down. So you've got existing leases, which are affected by the new law, but actually you have new leases, you've got a new amount of supply. So there's still opportunities for growth in the market there. And then, of course, we've got the new residential non-Saudi laws as well. So it's quite a diverse range of push and pull factors in the marketplace, but opportunities if you configure your projects in the right way.
So do you think also about the residential, projects here in Riyadh or other cities? What about those? Do they have a good potential for growth or for the rental income as well?
So from my perspective, if you do a quality project, it's all about the location. So we're seeing, and what we'll talk about tomorrow when we launch our predictions, is that the impact of the metro. So we've got several tools, and maybe I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
We've got here, but in terms of we've got a tool that looks at different assets. It looks at projects in the marketplace. This is a generative AI tool, so it will actually take a site and show you what you could potentially generate, show you the financials. That's obviously something that we look at in a lot of detail in terms of what are your GFAs, what does that cost to build, what is the land value, where does that come in, how much revenue can you generate. And when you start thinking about doing this, it's not just about reports anymore. You need to see what can you fit on a particular site. So for me, it's all about, look, you've got to look at the projects, you've got to look at the market potential. It's not just a yes answer. It's right. Every project has its own merits, its own nuances in terms of the availability of infrastructure. How much does that cost to bring into the site? And then again, what is the demands of the local catchment area?
Right.
And you start to understand that. Again, importantly, at the district level. So how dense is stuff? Just an example that we've done around an empty flood of land near Kingdom Tower. Again, what is the impact of the project? Because it's not just a financial impact. It's about, look, how much green space can you create? How much community benefit can you have as well? So it's all these wider factors when you think about a real estate.
So Deloitte was involved in this project here in the city center, or
this is an example. But we've been involved in a bunch of projects. So we've picked a piece of land in Riyadh.
Okay.
So just to give an idea,
Right.
and again, this is a tool that actually you can pick up any plot and actually deploy it. So not just in Saudi, across the whole region as well.
Oh, wow. So can you tell me a little bit more about how does Deloitte analyze the real estate market and what kind of tools are available? I mean, some of the stuff that you're showing is great. Just for the like maybe the retail, potentially the more experienced investors out there that if they're looking to utilize some of the expertise here, what's available? Is it only for like major developers, or can we also cater to some more mid-tier developers as well?
Let me show you that. So the next asset we got is actually harmonicity. If we talk about real estate, for example, and we pick this as an asset and we locate this on the map. So in terms of, this is very real case studies. So you see here, this is actually bringing in some global case studies that we've done.
Oh,
So this is effective for cities and regional government, looking at a waterfront redevelopment.
wow.
It's all about, again, the fundamentals, and what we try to showcase are different assets and different case studies that are linked to all of the different asset types that we get involved with. So from data centers to desalination plants,
Right.
gas, real estate, everything
Everything
is
is there.
related in terms of when it comes to building a city.
Right.
We've got the best in practice in terms of, as I mentioned earlier, we've actually launched ourselves as a global center of excellence. So we can bring you the best that Deloitte has to offer, but we bring you that within the region.
So, okay, Oliver, so just for like, let's say for future sake, so for investors looking to get in right now, which city would you say that they should be focusing on if you were to pick one city out of the 4 or 5 major cities that are here in Saudi Arabia? I know it's a hard one. I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry about that. But
No, and look, from my perspective, again, each city has its different
Sure.
drivers, and so again, if you look at Medina and Mecca, the huge religious importance for those,
For sure.
there is very much a global interest, and His Excellency talked yesterday on the panel about the idea around fractional ownership as well, and that would actually become and give a broader platform to Muslims globally who wanted to get involved in terms of investing in the holy city.
So that could be possible, yeah, fractional ownership as well.
So it was from the ministers yesterday talking on the panels about it. So I think a lot of changes are coming and a lot of different platforms to invest as well. And then if you look at Riyadh, there's a lot of investments in infrastructure. But then again, don't ignore the Eastern Province. You've got again, really interesting developments and again, investments in infrastructure.
Dammam and Khobar in those regions?
Absolutely. So a lot coming. And, we've got the Saudi rail connection. So you've got the logistics that is already there. A fantastic platform that connects you to the kingdom.
Right. So for those looking for, let's say, commercial sector, then I would think it's Riyadh. That's just my, like, what do you think? Like, for if you're looking in offices or
Again, yes, Riyadh is the capital, right? And if you look again at the supply that's coming, there are some very large projects in the pipeline that have started already.
Okay.
So I think it's about, look, again, what is the location in the city? What is the connectivity? The metro, I'm going to mention it again, is increasingly important in decisions because, we have our head office in CAFT, and actually a lot of our staff are now coming on the metro. So there's that big impact in terms of if you have that connectivity. Transit-orientated development is, I think, going to be a fantastic theme. So, absolutely, if any of your viewers are landowners or looking at land around the metro stations,
for sure,
please get in touch.
Oh, amazing. Last question. When picking a property for investment, what are some criteria that our investors should be looking at? Just a small piece of advice if you can share, that'd be really helpful.
So firstly, understand the location.
Okay.
So think about, look, where did you grow up? That's going to be an area that you know implicitly. And so the local market context. If whatever investment decision you're going to make, always think about, look, would you invest where you grew up and what level of info would you need?
So we have to know really well about this place. Like, you'd really know it well. Like,
exactly. So an investment decision like that is substantial. It's something that will, real estate is, unless you're doing a fractional ownership, is relatively illiquid in terms of it takes a long time to transact.
Right.
Comparatively. So again, just think you need to do your due diligence. Don't just go ahead and be driven by, if it's a development project, just be driven by design.
Right.
Think about the end users, understand your end users, understand affordability of the end user.
Point. Yeah, the end user,
so that you can make sense of what that's going to cost, but also think about if you own an asset, how much is it going to cost to operate, and factor that in, and how will you recover those costs as well?
Maintenance and all that stuff, the other costs and taxes and all, yeah.
Well, absolutely. So your life cycle cost. So if you're building a real estate project,
Right.
the life cycle cost is actually 70% of the end-to-end
What does
cost.
that mean, the life cycle cost is?
So you have a real estate asset, it's going to last 25, 50 years if you look after it properly.
Okay, right.
The costs involved in the annual maintenance
We forget about that usually, yeah.
is more than the upfront construction cost.
Really? So that's the data does say that. That ends up being, we don't look at it that way, but when you calculate it, you're right.
If you want to have the asset for 25, 20 years. So again, depends on the investment horizon you'll play, but if you maintain stuff and look after it properly,
Right.
it will increase your returns in the long term.
And also, if we buy something of good quality from the beginning, maybe that could also be like less maintenance costs throughout the years.
Well, a trend that we're seeing is from a sustainability standpoint. If you invest up front and you put the solar panels in, or you put the grey water recycling in,
Right.
you can actually bring those operational costs down, but you've got a higher upfront investment. So again, it all comes back to the financial model and in terms of, right, does that investment decision make sense? So do your numbers and do your homework, and then that will lead to, a good quality project that again should yield good return.
Thank you so much, Oliver. Appreciate your time. Really
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.